picture this. You're about 30 miles into the woods, helping search for a missing girl, and not 30 miles from your house. You're not 30 miles from the closest fucking Walmart. You're 30 miles in the actual wilderness. Like the woods, bud. There are
The
no
forest.
buildings. You said what? What'd you say?
I said the forest.
Hell yeah, the fucking forest, brother. All right. You know, in the forest, there are no buildings, there are no roads. There shouldn't be anything man made way out where we are, nowhere around anything where people could be. Then you come through the trees, and all of a sudden you see a big staircase. Not some old concrete steps with a house foundation attached to them. This thing looks like somebody took the stairs straight out of a normal house and dropped them right in the middle of the woods. The carpet is clean, there aren't any leaves on it, and there aren't any bugs crawling all over it. It goes up about 12 steps and just stops. There's nothing at the top, there's nothing underneath it when you look. It's just stairs.
I'm already going up them.
And that's exactly why you're going to die first.
Look, you have to see this. You can't bring me 30 miles into the woods and show me these magic stairs and not expect me to walk my happy ass up to the very top.
I feel that, but you ain't gonna catch me doing it. This is exactly what the experienced search officer expects you to do, because he looks at you and says, "Do not get close to them. Don't touch them. And whatever you do, do not climb up them." You ask him why. He just looks at you dumbfounded. He turns around, keeps searching for the missing girl, and later that night, the dogs lose her scent, and she is never found. And somehow, the officer who warned you about the stairs already knows you're the next one he's looking for. So tonight, for our first ever episode, we're going all the way down one of Reddit's creepiest rabbit holes, man. It's a
Yes,
search. So it's a search and rescue wood stories. There's missing kids, men without faces, and things in the woods that can copy human voices. What the fuck is that? And completely normal staircases standing miles away from the closest building.
you still haven't explained why I can't climb these damn stairs because I certainly would.
It's because we need you alive for episode 2, so that way I don't have to do all the reading.
Got it.
Okay, so what's up, everybody? Um, Welcome to the first episode of Snackin' and Yakkin'. I'm
Snacking
Mason.
and and I'm Dakota.
This is our first time doing this. There's a very real chance we have no idea what we're doing. There's gonna be lots of bloopers, and we're probably gonna fuck this up 3 or 4 times. But just know
Speak
we
for
did it for
yourself,
you.
bud. I'm considered professional, non-biased.
A professional what?
Move on. We'll figure that out later. Let the crowd figure it out.
All right. Well, so the whole point of this show is that we find creepy stories, weird internet rabbit holes, urban legends, and other shit that we probably shouldn't be investigating at 2 in the morning, but I did it anyway. I did way too much research. And so did Dakota. We're gonna take turns probably as we go along and throughout the episodes with you guys, and one of us will probably bring a story or something interesting that we thought of that week. We really don't have too much of a you know, thing. Our whole deal is just running off vibes. So if we one day we want to talk about LeBron retiring, you're gonna hear about LeBron retiring, and then the next week you might hear about you know a monkey and a man getting
So that
married.
probably won't be till the next 10 years, probably. Till he's 51.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, like man just wants to play forever. He thinks he's Tom Brady. I don't know what that's about. But either way, we're gonna be getting into it with you guys, and we're gonna hopefully try not to lose track and go completely off. But you never know. You might get a
We
tangent or
most
two.
certainly will not. We will not. Okay,
Yeah,
that's actually a bullshit lie. We probably will.
that's true.
But the main story will get across eventually in the time of the podcast.
Facts. You also might get to learn something about something you didn't even think you were coming to learn. So get ready. This is gonna be a roller coaster ride for the both of us and you guys as well. But
Do it.
for episode 1, I wanted something that gave us more than one little ghost story. So I'm the one who bring in the story this week. that we already started talking about. And I'm gonna explain this to Dakota because he said he knows a little bit about it, but he's not as well versed as apparently I am because of I did all the research for this one. So you know, uh, but yeah, this series is gonna have a little bit of everything as we go along. It's gonna start sounding like somebody is honestly sharing stories from a dangerous job. Things are slowly gonna get weirder. At first, it's gonna be a missing person in a strange location. Then it's a child talking about something in the woods, and then people start seeing figures that don't look completely human. And eventually, we'll finally get to the stairs, and probably what size shoe Shaq wears.
You know, it's crazy. You really built your whole first episode around being scared of basic human constructions in the middle of the woods.
You're saying that now, but I guarantee by the end of this episode, you ain't never gonna look at simple construction or staircases or even a small ladder the same ever again.
Well, joke's on you, bud. I don't regularly see staircases or any basic human constructions just casually 30 miles in the woods.
I mean, that's what makes it, crazy and also like kind of scary because you don't even know where they are. And when they pop up on you, you're going to be in the, looking in the distance going, bro, what the fuck is going on? So, uh, we wanted to talk about, different things in the podcast, like I said before. So, since it's our first episode, Dakota, you wanted to talk about why we started talking about, want to do a podcast in the first place?
Yeah, sure. So we started the streaming of SnackinAndYackin about a year ago, and we got deep into that, and we really enjoyed it. But we also brought up this whole podcast idea. But at first, we thought the podcast idea wouldn't work because we're states away, like almost 18 hours away, and we thought that would be not very a common and possible thing to do. But we've done some more research and we've looked into it, and we're like, fuck it, but let's do it anyways. If we really want to do it, we'll find something to talk about and find ways to bring innovation to podcasts and show a new way to have people look into podcasting and bring more different kind of people involved. Um, we're basically just two brothers that just love to talk and just want to find ways to be more interact with each other and have more people to be along of our friendship.
Oh yeah, we're going for more of like a like a just a fun Discord vibe. It'd be like almost basically doing what we always do when we get in the Discord chat. We just hang out, share stories. Sometimes we, talk way too much about stupid stuff that doesn't even matter. But also sometimes we learn things about each other that maybe we didn't know, even though we've been friends for like 15 years. So
Yeah, it's insane.
but yeah, so we're basically just gonna bring you guys along for the ride, and it's gonna be like a Discord call if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on any platform that you can watch or listen to the audio on, you'll be able to hear what it sounds like, and maybe you'll be intrigued to check us out on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
hopefully the girls y'all can stick along.
oh yeah. So since this week we're talking about creepy stories or whatever, what kind of creepy stories is keeping you up at night, or like what makes you when you go on the internet is the first thing that you're like, hey, I need to look up more about that because I heard about it on TikTok or I saw it on YouTube, but man, it really sat with me.
Uh, I guess it all started when I was a kid with horror games, really, and then being able to watch horror movies and then being able to play horror games, and then being able to, first books I ever read was Goosebumps, and
You give me goosebumps.
the classic. Oh, well, thank you. The classic Goosebump books that they no longer make anymore, and it
Bro,
used to be a TV show.
bro, I used to
Dude,
hate Slappy,
said,
bro. I hated
what?
Slappy. Slappy used to keep me up, brother. I'm telling you. Well, that and I didn't like Chucky either because I something about the dolls just felt way too real for me. And so like
Really?
my sisters had the dolls, so I'm walking around the house checking corners because I'm like, man, that's not for me. But
Yeah.
eventually, I grew out of it, so I can see where you're
I don't
coming
know.
from.
It just I have always had a thing for horror, and it has never really affected me. I've just always been engaged with it just because I like that feel that it gives you, like on edge and on seat. And I don't know. I've just always been intrigued with horror and like psychological side of it, and I just love like I just like the thought of it and like just keep reading of it, even if it's not real. I just like just the eerie feeling that horror gives, and it's pretty cool. It keeps you on your sheet.
Well, you guys know one thing.
Um,
You know one thing,
Go ahead.
bud. that the guys that they don't that I got to know that they didn't first, is he's lying a little bit. Because I
Hey,
know
I
one
was getting
thing.
there. I
I
was
know
getting there.
one thing that makes him have
I was getting
issues.
there. There's only one thing that gets me, and it has gotten me for over a decade now, and it still will. I get tears if I just think about the movies in the game. There is a game, PC game, but The Grudge gets me, man. The Grudge, something about it, it gets me. And that's actually a real Asian urban legend.
I mean, you
It
know
is. Maybe
what?
one episode we'll get into it.
I mean, I think I had an Asian urban experience one time. I had some bad orange chicken, man, and they had me on the toilet for a minute. You know what I mean?
The wrong urban legend.
You should have seen what happened. It was definitely an urban legend, brother.
Yes, that really is an urban legend that makes you shit your pants.
Had me in there howling like the dog. Yeah, I mean, so anyway, yeah. So like for me,
Pampers, if you're watching,
oh yeah, I could use some Pampers. Yeah, I mean, also if you want to
or
sponsor
dude
me,
wipes.
yeah, if you want to sponsor me, do wipes, I'll gas you up. You're one of my favorite products. You saved my life more than once, and my ass. So, yeah. So since Dakota was talking about, uh, cool stuff that he's into for like creepy stories, since I was kind of revived this week, uh, so I've never really hardcore been into like creepy stuff that often. I like, cool, deep stuff that's kind of interesting. So, like the skinwalkers and crazy stuff like that. But, any kind of stuff that like, I like stuff that makes you think, or like what you talked about with like the Grudge or whatever, where it's true. So, like, it's very much a possibility that if I was in the wrong part of Japan or whatever, I might run into her, and I don't want nothing to do with her. But at least I know enough about her that hopefully I know that she had probably, you know, problems with her mom. And, if I call her mom's name, maybe she'll run off and leave me alone long enough that I can go find some dude wives because I probably shitted myself.
Just get out of there.
Right. Um, so since we're talking about stuff out in the woods, like the stairs and other creepy stuff in this episode, what do you think, you ever been like camping or whatever with like your
Yeah.
family or alone or whatever, and basically,
Not alone, but I have gone camping with friends or family.
I mean, you're like sitting around the fire, maybe it's late at night and you got to go to the bathroom or whatever, you're standing out by your favorite tree doing your thing. Yeah, I mean,
You you mark a tree and have a favorite tree.
why not? If it's got bark that I like, it's bark that I like. All right, it makes me feel comfortable in the middle of the wilderness. You know what I mean? If I'm in the
Okay.
wilderness like these stairs are, I need a special tree. Okay, I need comfort somewhere. So
Well, if it's in the middle of the night, it's not like I'm gonna remember what fucking tree I take a piss at. I'm just gonna be taking a piss and getting right back in my tent.
you must not have seen the trees I've seen, man. But so say you're standing out at that tree. Have you ever been like dealing with the psychological stuff you're talking about, where you thought you heard something crazy out there? Did you see any? You know what I mean? Did you see anything? One of those kind of things, or what you thought might have been something that probably
I
wasn't
mean,
what it
I
was.
guess at night when you hear like branches breaking or like stuff ruffling in the leaves, maybe some big creature or something as far as like a sudden thing. But I mean, then you think it's like, oh well, it's a raccoon or it could be a coyote or whatever critter. Nothing like creepy pasta wise or urban legend wise is ever came in my head. Or if you see some eyes, it's gonna be some freaking. It's gonna be some
But
like
guess
normal
guess what I thought
critter.
of? Guess what I thought of?
What?
I was thinking of you standing next to the tree doing your thing, and you said critters. So I'm like, I wonder if that critter was like, holy crap, bro, a hot dog. And now you're out here just running around screaming, hoping that it was a poltergeist and not a darn raccoon.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
I try to stay inside the house as often as possible. That's probably why I get my ghostly
That's why
complexion.
he's so white.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fitting
Exactly.
that we decided to do creepy pastas, or just creepy stories in general, because I guess my ghostly appearance will work. You know what I mean? Um, so if we were stranded in the woods together, who do you think's gonna die first?
You.
Why do you think I'm gonna die first? I'm definitely not dying of starvation first. Look at your skinny ass.
Well, I can outrun anything, unlike you.
Yeah, but I'll talk it to death. I'm
So
friendly.
what's ever chasing us is gonna get you first. So that's one thing. Two, I can climb any tree. I don't know about you can climb, but I can climb. So you're stuck on the ground. I'm waving at you at the down. the ground while I'm on the tree.
All I'm saying is you better hope Bigfoot ain't thick, because we might be in an issue. That's all I'm saying,
What?
bruh. You know I'm a sucker for some booty cheeks.
If
So
that's an, would that be considered an animal or a human? Because if that's an animal,
I don't know, but I do
we're
know it
we're
has
treading
big
on
feet.
some thin waters here.
If we're out in the wilderness and we're talking about dying, nobody's ever gonna know what it is because I'm probably gonna die. So it is what it is. Hopefully, I never have to worry about that. But I always keep pocket snacks on me,
Yeah.
so I think that'll, I think I'll be okay for a while as long as what you said. Like, if we don't encounter anything crazy, I think I'll be okay. You know what I mean?
You think?
I mean,
That's we're just gonna go off. I think.
shoot. Hopefully, I have enough chocolate marshmallows so I can make a freaking s'mores before I die.
Have one last s'more as you're getting attacked by whatever it be.
You know. Um, do you think? I think personally though, you'd be the first one to see something crazy off in the distance, like at night, like be like, "Is that a fire?" Like we're out here way by ourselves. How's there a fire out here? And you're like, "Let's go check it out, see if they're friendly." And I'm gonna have to try to talk you down. You know what I mean? That's just personally what I think,
Uh,
especially if there's liquor involved.
well, I don't drink liquor for that reason,
Liquor. You know what I mean? That's facts.
and
Last time you
I guess
drank liquor,
I guess if it's like a campfire, maybe. But if it's anything else that I'm questioning, I ain't going out there. I ain't that stupid.
I mean, I'd take a little gander at a,
If it's anything human like, maybe.
I mean,
But
yeah,
if I suspect anything being like an oh hell no, it's an oh hell no. I'm not going.
that's facts. Well, for me, like, I'd take a little gander at a cool, like, what I think could be like a UFO or something. I'm gonna get abducted, you
Yeah.
know. Hopefully
No.
they're not the Diddy kind of, aliens. Hopefully they're cool ones that, like, what I mean? They're like, hey, let's teach him something. I don't want to learn new ways of feeling violated. You know what I mean? I don't want that. So hopefully they're not the Diddy aliens. Like,
Bring their whole
yeah, it'll mess up my whole week. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, all right. So moving on from there, uh, so um, this week, so this week before we start, there's something important we need to explain. These stories were posted on Reddit in a community called No Sleep. The whole gimmick of No Sleep is that stories are written like real personal experiences, and everybody in the comments plays along like they are true. So this is not a
Hmm.
collection of confirmed United States Forest Service reports. It's a horror series told through the account of someone claiming to be a search and rescue officer. Uh, some of the or some of the ordinary wilderness dangers in these stories are completely believable. The supernatural parts are where the rabbit hole begins.
So it's fake.
It's fiction presented like a real account. So I guess it makes it more interesting. I don't know. It seemed wild to me, but that does not make the rabbit hole less interesting. Because it got popular enough that people started sharing photos of stairs they actually found in forest, other people started claiming that they had heard similar warnings. Eventually, they were repeating the staircase story without even knowing it began on Snow Sleep. Same as me. I had no idea where it began when I heard about it. I think Dakota might have mentioned it to me one time before. We were talking about things to do for our first episode. I was like, what about this? And so I ended up doing a bunch of research and reading a whole bunch of stuff and staying up way too fucking late.
Hmm. So let me get this right. So basically, somebody wrote a story on Reddit and went insane, and now people think this Forest Service has a secret domain stair department.
I mean, not really a stair department, or like not a domain. It's a demon domain, if anything. You know what I mean? But yeah, basically, what made the original
I
series so
don't. Yeah, I
faithful?
guess. Yeah, I guess. Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. Yeah,
Demon stair department, not domain. I guess demon stair department in like his domain in the woods. That's
yeah.
what I meant to say.
I guess it's a demon domain. You know what I mean? Hopefully they got
Yeah, a demon domain,
man. Hope
basically.
I mean, since you're talking about climbing the stairs, hopefully if you make it to the top, you could tell me whether or not the demons have a Taco Bell. You know what I mean? That's just what I'm hoping for.
They'll cause you to feel like you've ate Taco Bell.
Hey, calm down. I lost about 30 pounds,
30 pounds.
but I'm still thick though. You know what I mean? But yeah, so uh what made the original series so effective is that it did not begin by yelling, "There are demons in the woods." It began with a search and rescue calls that sounded just believable enough. Other people wanted to continue keeping it on. So, um, the narrator in most of the posts says missing person cases are not mysterious. Someone walks off the trail, they fall down a small cliff, and they get turned around and start walking in the wrong direction. Usually, search teams find them somewhere that makes sense. But one of the first stories involves a family picking berries in the woods. The parents have two kids with them, a young boy and his little sister. The parents lose sight of both children only for a few seconds. When the search teams arrive, they find the little girl fairly quickly, but her brother is gone. Where do you think he went? You don't
Some
even.
kind of creature,
You think the no face man got him that we talked about earlier?
maybe that, or maybe he just wanted to go pick a flower.
Well,
Hopefully, something more nice and peaceful.
well,
Maybe he saw a butterfly.
since I did the research this week, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I can tell you it wasn't flowers. So, like I said, so after they find the little girl, they find out that the brother's gone. They can't find him. They ask her what happened, and she says a man who looked like a bear took him. According to her, this bear man gave her berries and told her to stay quiet, and said that he wanted her to play with her brother or something like that. The last time she saw her brother, he was sitting calmly on the creature's shoulders while it carried him away. That's wild. What could you imagine
So,
being in the
so this
woods?
kid just sees this
Right,
bear man, goes, "Yeah, let me ride on your shoulders."
right. She's like, I'm cold. You must look warm because you're a bear man. I don't know. That's crazy work.
If I was a kid, I would have screamed at my mom.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Bear Man's gonna take him to the Demon Taco Bell. I don't know. Like,
Mm, oh,
so anyway, like the girl said, last we heard from her account, the brother was sitting on the weird bear man's shoulders. She described it as a tall, hairy, and shaped somewhat like a person, but she insisted that its face was wrong. And when the cops asked her what wrong meant, basically she said, kind of human, but like not like me or you. And the cops were basically dumbfounded.
well, I would hope that it wouldn't be kind of human if it was described as a bear man.
I mean, I would hope so too. Hopefully, it's more man than bear, because if not, we could probably guess where the story's going. Because if the
Yeah,
bear took over, he's probably hungry. Um,
yeah, he's probably gone.
but yeah, so the search teams they start going out, spending weeks in the area, looking around for the little boy. They don't find him. They don't find any clothing.
Shocker.
Right. They don't find any clothing. They don't even find signs of a struggle. They do not find evidence of an adult moving through the area either. He's just gone. He's basically vanished.
So, I mean, okay, but basically, this just sounds like a Bigfoot just happened to want to kidnap a kid.
I mean, that's definitely one possibility. What some people probably would say. I mean, I saw that a couple times in some of the comment section and stuff.
Not even, not even like I wouldn't even say possibility. You have a hairy bear-shaped man that walks into the woods carrying a kid. The only thing that comes to my mind is Bigfoot. Clearly,
I mean, maybe it could be, Harambe. Maybe he escaped. Maybe they, maybe the CIA let Harambe go, and now he lives in the woods abducting kids. I don't know. He's taking the staircase to the Demon Taco Bell. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Harambe's living a good life,
yeah,
hopefully. Um, right? Um, I haven't heard of Harambe in so long. I just thought of that when you said that. I was like, well, what could
I
it
know.
be?
It's like Harambe.
Or I was gonna say, what could it be? You know what I mean? Um, but it could also be a child trying to describe a person in very heavy clothing. It could be an abductor wearing camouflage or like a ghillie suit. To me personally, when I was like 6 years old, if I'd seen a big man in a ghillie suit, that's that's a man and that's a bear man. I mean that could be Bigfoot,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yes. Yeah. Still. Yeah.
Um, but it also could be a child's memory getting confused after something traumatic like losing her brother, or the author knew that hearing a child casually call something the bear man is creepier than giving it some kind of giant monster description.
So I'm still gathering that it's still Bigfoot. It's still Bigfoot.
I mean, do you believe the little girl actually saw something, or do you think her brain was trying to explain something that she didn't understand?
She most definitely had to have seen something in order to describe it and see her brother on the bear man's shoulders being carried away. I most definitely think she saw something.
Do you think it
It
was
wasn't
super?
like just like a little kid running his imagination or some adrenaline rush. No, the kid must have seen something.
Do you think they saw something supernatural, or do you think it may have been an abductor in a ghillie suit?
Uh, well, from my knowledge of stories and everything, I have not heard of a kidnapper going to that extent, following a family or just happen to be in a ghillie suit, just waiting out in the woods, hoping for one day there'll be a family, and he just happens to kidnap a kid in a ghillie suit.
I mean,
So that's rare to none, and being a possibility.
I mean, you know, we have a buddy who's a little bit different. You know what I mean? If he was if he was gonna kidnap somebody, how do you think? You know, he'd be wearing a ghillie suit. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to
Not
hide and
that
sneak up
smart.
on somebody. You think he's not smart enough for
Not that smart. No,
that? Maybe you never know.
no, no,
Maybe we'll both be surprised. Hopefully, we don't find out he's the man bear at the end of this. You know what I mean?
no.
Uh,
But no, it had to be a creature.
I mean, so
Unless the kidnapper was it was more of a personal and knew him and knew exactly when they're going to be out there, and this was planned. This was a planned kidnap, and then the ghillie suit would come into action.
that's true. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I just couldn't imagine. I mean, imagine what the little boys think. You know what I mean? Like, if it say it isn't just a kidnapper, you know, if it really is a man, how the heck did the man bear convince the little boy to get comfortable enough with him to sit on his shoulders? You know what I mean?
He must have been more human-like than what we have seen on the face, or had most had a clear speak of English and understood humans enough to get the kids comfort to even put him on her shoulders.
If I think, yeah, really and truly, what do you think that the like? What do you think his English sounds like? Because I don't think if you're raised alone as a man bear in the woods, like your English would be good.
I
I'm
like how
thinking
you expect me to understand how a Bigfoot would sound if it spoke English.
I'm thinking Chewbacca, you
Well,
know,
yeah,
like
like I
this.
went to college for Bigfoot English. No,
I thought that's
well,
what your
no.
major was.
Let me.
I mean, you know,
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot to tell you that.
I'm
I got a bachelor's in Bigfoot.
thinking it sounds more
But no,
along the
like,
lines, you know, of
what do you think
like a
about
caveman. Go
like a
ahead. No, you're
caveman?
good. My bad. Yeah,
No,
sorry. Go ahead.
no. Yeah, yeah. It was a caveman,
It's a
but
cave bear.
cavemen didn't speak English.
I mean, they
They
probably
didn't.
spoke whatever
There was no
language.
language. There was no language at that point.
I went around to find out. Yeah, I mean, so maybe they did speak
Well,
English,
according to
or
our
maybe they spoke man bear.
history,
Okay, maybe they spoke man bear.
maybe they spoke man bear. Okay.
Right.
But then how did they convince the kid to put it on his shoulders?
With the man bear language. Maybe man bear
Man
candy.
bear.
Maybe they have man bear candy or
Maybe
snacks.
man bear is the universal language for kids.
You never know. I mean, kids are simple in mind. You know what I mean? So like cavemen, like a ooga booga. You know what I mean? Like a ooga booga
Well,
ooga ooh ooh ooh.
well, do you think the children would willingly follow a stranger who offered them a food or pretended to know their parents?
I mean, not really. I mean, so I'm just thinking from like my perspective as what I would have been as a child. You know what I mean? I would have never. But also, I think my parents were paranoid sometimes. So they gave us a lot of fear when it came to stuff like that. So I was a lot smarter than apparently this kid was. But at the end of the day, I mean, I guess it depends on what he offered him, or maybe like maybe he did talk him into something cool. You know, like I guess if I saw a man bear in the woods and he was like, "You think I'm cool? I know where the unicorn's at." You know what I mean? I might have want to go see a unicorn. I don't know. You know.
Well, yeah, because I mean, uh, kids get so distracted and so intrigued with the little stuff. I mean, they'll disappear real quick without the parents even looking. Like at Walmart, parents are looking at some fruit, and a kid sees candy down the aisle or another aisle and runs to the candy. Parents look around. I mean, the kids are gone. They get so intrigued and distracted so fast.
I
They'll
mean,
walk away.
Oh
before they
yeah.
even know.
I mean, with my three kids, like, um, especially my middle son, man, he's a darter. You know what I mean? You'll look around, and if he's seen an orange or something that he really wants at the grocery store, we'll be over in the frozen food section, and you're like, bro, where is he at? And my wife's like, I don't know. So we just kind of yell out for him and hope for the best. And if we don't hear from him, we just start looking in the fruit section because we know he loves fruit. So he's probably
Dude,
gonna be there. You
my
know what I
wife
mean?
is the same way. We'll be looking at something and she'll get distracted, and I turn around and she'll leave me. I have no idea where she is. I have to call her because she's gone.
You're out here looking like one of those kids who lost their mom.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
You're like, babe,
I
where
have
are
no
you?
idea where she is. Yeah.
Babe, help.
Yeah.
I need an adult. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, so what food do you think somebody would have to offer you to get you to follow them into the woods?
What was that?
So, what food do you think somebody would have to offer you for you to be like, yeah, I know you're weird as a man bear, but like maybe this is worth it?
You know, I don't know. You probably you you wouldn't follow somebody for food. You follow them because, they said they were seeking government door behind a tree. Right. What do you think?
I mean, probably. I mean, what's behind the door? I mean, is it something cool? Like, am I gonna be able to see?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
right. You know,
Exactly.
I'm thinking like it could be something crazy like Lincoln's brain with the hole in it. You know what I mean? Or like maybe I get to see like like the first uh yeah, I mean like the dentures, or maybe I get to they're like, hey, you get to wear the dentures if you want to that George Washington had. I'm not putting them nasty things in my mouth, but I mean it could be something cool to see. You know
No,
what I
I
mean?
mean, because it could be a rabbit hole and rabbit hole instead of like you'd casually follow them for food. It'd be some secret government agent guy in a ghillie suit trying to lead you to a secret door behind a tree. A rabbit hole and then a rabbit hole. The irony is insane.
And then again, like I said, hopefully he's not on no Diddy stuff, and he actually could teach you something cool. You know what I mean? We're gonna nip
But
in the.
my luck as a kid, I'd just be chasing it just for food.
I mean,
In all reality, if we're speaking here, if he has some food, I'd be chasing him.
that's that's probably true. Cause like back in the day, if somebody would offer me a bag of like sour Skittles, you would never see me again. Like,
Oh, the sour Skittles, I'm a
bro,
goner.
I loved it.
I'm a goner.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean. Uh, so if you would have been the parents or one of the people searching out in the woods, do you think that you would have followed like the sound of what could have been the little boy? Maybe realize that he's done wrong and he's like crying for help, like please help me, or do you kind of just be like, it's dark outside, I'm gonna sit down and chill till it gets daylight?
Well, at that point, then I already have a search party, so I would go. But if I was by myself and happened so fresh at night, uh, no, he's a goner.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to let little Timmy. Little Timmy's done for. I'm just gonna pray for little Timmy and
Yeah,
hope that like,
the Timster will have to wait till the next morning.
right. You know what I mean? But
Ain't no way.
another cool theory that I saw online that some people even talked about, like we were talking about, maybe the little girl, made something up due to trauma or her just not understanding what she saw. It could be the berries that they were eating. Could have been poisonous or something. They made the little girl hallucinate, or maybe the little boy was
Oh, some
hallucinating.
hallucinogenics.
Right? Maybe the poison, like poisonous
Okay,
berries.
okay. So, I mean, I guess you bring that up with him. What exactly made the boy disappear?
Also, I'm saying. So at that point, uh, maybe they were walking near like a like a big tree, or maybe they did see an animal that was kind of hairy. You never know what it was, but maybe it was something that actually was. Maybe they did see a bear and they tried to follow it into the woods because they were hallucinating, and maybe the little boy fell off a cliff, or maybe he fell into the void. I don't know, whatever. Like
Yeah,
whatever you mean, whatever would make him just disappear, make it hard for him to be found, I guess. Um,
yeah,
but at the same time, it makes you also wonder whether or not it could be something even more sinister. Like maybe the sister did something nefarious to the brother, and she made up the story just so that way, um, nobody. nobody thought that she was responsible. You know what I mean? Like, who
Yeah,
knows?
maybe she just didn't like her brother, or maybe the younger brother did something that she didn't like and couldn't forgive him for it.
Right, you never know. That maybe they were horseplaying near, because it doesn't really say where this was exactly. Like it doesn't, maybe they were somewhere there were cliffs and they were horseplaying, and maybe she took it too far and pushed him over the edge. But she don't want to tell everybody that she was potentially the one who killed her brother. Like that's or hurt him really badly. Obviously,
Yeah, it also doesn't give like age, so it could be a whole plethora
right?
of scenarios. I mean, because maybe the creature only took one and just left her behind, but why did he only take one?
Maybe she was more combative, or maybe she was more hesitant. Maybe the little brother was, maybe he was the wacky one in the relationship where he was like, "I'm gonna go see what this dude's about," and she was like, "I'm gonna go find mom." And then it turned out to be
Yeah,
that when she found mom, the brother was gone and she couldn't do anything about it. You never know.
yeah, true.
Um, well, so so the next part of the story that we and the rabbit hole, I guess you could say, that we went down was, now that we're done kind of talking about the little kid. I mean, that's all I could find mostly about that. Um, I think it was a while and it was really late last time that I was doing gathering all this information. So there, I might have wrote something else down. So maybe guys, stay tuned. Maybe we'll find out something at the end that I forgot about. But yeah. So the next part, they call the woman who never came down. So the next disappearance is much shorter, but honestly, it bothers me almost just as much. A young woman is hiking with her mother and grandfather. She climbs a tree because she wants a better lookout over the forest. Why you couldn't just look for higher ground, I don't know. But I guess climbing a tree is the best way. Maybe everybody, maybe I'm not as fit as
Oh, I would
everybody
do that.
else. I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said before, you're pretty good at climbing trees. I don't know if you could tell, and I like to stay near the ground because I'm a little heavier than
I would
some
use your
people.
best friend.
Right. That and my back hurts. So I'm not climbing no freaking tree. You know what I mean? I'm too old for stuff like that. Even though I'm not old yet, but I'm getting there. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
but yeah, so basically, she climbs this tree, looking over the forest, I guess, to get a better look. And her family is basically does the same thing I said. Like, I'm not climbing to the top of that tree, and they stay at the bottom, and she climbs to the top. But she never comes back down. The mother and the grandfather say they remained at the base of the tree for hours, calling her name. They never saw her come out of the tree. They never saw her fall down or anything. They didn't hear any cries for help. So they call the authorities and they get a search team going. The search team checks the tree up and down and every other tree around the tree and as many parts in the woods they could go, and there's no sign of her whatsoever.
So this one kind of sounds like the family may have done it.
I mean, maybe the creepy part about it is like the image. If you think about it, you watch someone climb a tree, you wait, hoping that they're gonna come back down. They stop responding when you say, "Hey, what do you see up there?" And you look up, and they're not there anymore. You're like, "Bro, where the heck did they go? They didn't fly."
So other side of the tree,
I mean, they searched that area though.
better tree.
I mean, this woman's not you, I guess. You know what I mean? You're putting a lot of faith in her ability to climb a tree.
True.
Yeah. I mean, so like you said, I mean, you already talked kind of about this. Do you think the story feels supernatural, like something, like kind of like I guess the Harry Bear, or do you think it could be something worse, like what you said? It sounds like a family did it.
Well, I don't know. This one could also be more on the suspicious end instead of like a more supernatural.
I mean, yeah,
Because I mean, it sounds like they were very vindictive. I mean, you could look at it being vindictive to that one person, and then it could be a hit and run. Just drop off and leave, or maybe some creature as upon the bear man.
I mean,
I
it could
mean,
be that. I mean, at the
why
end of the
why go?
day, right, right.
But
I mean, at the end of the day, it could have also been, like you said before, the family did it. Maybe old girl had a good insurance policy, and mom and daddy needed a new Corvette. I don't know, but it sounds like you might need a fishing pole for this one, dog. You know what I mean? Like it's extra fishy.
yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
mean?
It seems like she got up and looked down and they were gone. I mean, it's so quick. So and there's no sound or screams or nothing. So it just vanished.
I mean,
Almost rapture like, really.
I guess. I mean, hopefully, if
I
even
mean, could she have? Do you think she could have moved through the connected branches?
I mean, she could have, but like we said before, the search team checked every tree in the area, and all the places close to it. So even if she would have climbed to another tree, lost her footing and fell down, and maybe the family just didn't see her, among the trees or something, I don't know. But I think the search team probably would have found her. I mean, usually, search teams they're not like humongous, but they're usually also not small numbers of people. I mean, usually it's 10 to 15 people looking for somebody. And I think if 15 people were looking for me and I climbed a
And no
tree,
sign of nothing.
like right, I'm just saying, I'm like, somebody did something. You better call Chris Hansen or something. I mean, I don't like Ghostbusters. I don't, somebody. They need some help. Uh,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, another thing that's kind of crazy that I think is fishy from the story is like they said that the mother and grandfather try to say they looked up at the tree, almost the whole time trying to watch and see where she went, and then they never saw her. I don't know about you, but like, however tall this tree was, if she said she could probably see up higher, so she could see over everything, I'm not looking up in the tree the entire time. Yeah, I mean,
I still think they weren't really looking because no matter how tall the tree is, you can still look up and see them if they were there.
oh yeah,
So
like I said, it's all fishy. Like you gotta get your fish. Like I said, get that bait, man. You gotta get that. This lock them up, cause they
I
lying.
don't I I don't think that they were staring. They may have
I think somebody's
like
lying.
glanced everywhere, or they didn't even look up at all, and then just looked up that one time and vanished.
I mean, think about it from a perspective that like we kind of could understand, I guess, a little better because we weren't there. But like, imagine you and your mom and your sister are all out hiking like that, and your sister says, "Hey, I'm gonna climb to the top, to see up there." Do you think it'd be worse for her to never to come down and you never see her and wonder where she went, or to find evidence of what happened if something was bad?
Probably what would be worse?
Yeah, like what?
Her vanishing right in front of me. Because, well, I don't know. I guess like it. You have to be very detailed on what you mean, like vanish in front of me. Like if I'm actively looking at her, she has vanished, or if I look down and look back up and she's gone.
I mean,
Because
if we're gonna believe, like we said in the last, if we're gonna believe that the people in the story were looking up the entire time, never saw her, I guess, yeah, you would see her vanish. I guess out of thin air, you never see her come back down. I mean, you're looking up, and all of a sudden you're like, where the heck did she go? You know what I mean?
I think vanishing in front of you would be worse because then your imagination just rumbles on and it can go to a whole bunch of different realities of what had happened to her instead of you find evidence of what happened and you have your answers.
I mean,
So
yeah, I feel like
your own imagination could be worse than the evidence you would find.
I mean that's true. Sometimes if you sit alone with those thoughts too long, nothing will grab you crazy.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying. That'll be worse than what actually happened.
but oh yeah, the and that becomes like a repeating pattern in these stories. People are not simply getting lost; they're disappearing from places where they should be easy to find. Like we say, uh, if the little boy didn't walk off too far, the little boy should be not far from where the little girl and him were playing. As
Hmm.
well, like we said with the girl, she climbed up the tree. They never saw her fall out of the tree. They never seen her jump to another tree. Nothing. So eventually, she should be climbing back down the tree to join them. But uh, you know, they aren't. And sometimes, further we'll see in the stories, some people end up turning up somewhere that they should never be, or basically it's impossible. The bear man and the tree disappearance stories both appear um, in the first part of a lot of the like little Reddit threads and stuff that you read. Like it's almost they're more. I guess they're more popular ones. You know what I mean? I guess
Yeah.
they make you think more. But oh yeah. So no. As we're going along, we got like I said, we're talking about a bunch of different stuff because the rabbit hole's so deep. I still haven't found the carrots. You know what I mean? Uh, bro. You ain't got no idea how long
How long have you been waiting to use that one?
since last night. You know what I mean? I was thinking about it before I went to bed. I thought it was gonna be pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But type stuff. You know what I mean? But nah, I guess it didn't land the way I thought. Tough audience. Maybe some of you guys out there laugh. Dakota didn't laugh very much, but maybe y'all can climb in the comments because I know that was funny. But all right, so all jokes aside and stuff, this stuff is wild. But we're gonna move on to the next part.
So,
The
so
next
are
little
all these
story.
like rabbit holes connected to the stairs?
I mean, yeah, uh, at least I think so. Like I said, I've been in that rabbit hole for a minute, so I barely made it out just to be able to come back and do this like podcast. Yeah, I mean, like part of my psyche is probably still in the rabbit hole. Yeah, I mean, I gave away a piece of myself for you guys. Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
just just so you could learn something. Like, but oh yeah, so uh, one of the next stories that's kind of wild is it's called the 5-year-old on the mountain. Or sometimes I saw another thing saying it was a kid that was a little bit older, sometimes a little younger. Um, but this story involves a mother walking on an easy, clearly marked trail with her 3 children. She hears something behind her and she turns around. She looks away from the kids for only a few seconds. That sounds familiar, like the first one, huh? You think
Hmm.
this would be another man bear? Maybe.
Probably not.
I- That's what I thought, maybe. But at the end of eh, you never know. Hopefully not. But
Some supernatural creature.
right. So when she turns around, back to look at her kids again, remember she's only been looking away for a few seconds. Her 5-year-old kid is gone. The other 2 children claim that a large man with a frightening face stepped out of the trees, took their brother by the hand, and just simply walked away with him. What makes it worse is that the children did not seem to be panicked. They seemed kind of confused or dazed. Um, so the search teams cover the area. Dogs can't find a scent. There's no footprints, no broken branches, and nothing. Weeks go by. Then a volunteer searches far outside the expected area and finds the child's body about 15 miles from where he disappeared. Like, what the heck? How what's your theory on that one? I mean, how the heck did he get 15 miles in a few seconds? Bro, yeah, I mean, like, how did it happen? Or do you think it happened slowly and mom just is neglectful and didn't pay attention?
Well, the weeks had gone by for a volunteer to find him, so
I mean, I guess holding out hope. Maybe he was alive longer than the. And maybe he was, maybe he roamed the woods and survived off maybe those hallucination berries that the other kids were eating. I guess you know.
well, maybe he was alive until those weeks later, and then finally whatever had brought him out just finally couldn't do it anymore, and
Maybe he thought he heard his mom calling and he stepped off and something. But right, I mean, yeah. So here we go.
oh, and very similar with the bear man being like no one panicked, grabbed
Right.
their hand and just took him away.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, maybe it was the same. Maybe it was the same abductor. Like I didn't find anything about where it said that the two places were if they're near each other. Maybe they're in the same national park or something. I don't know. If it is, we need to figure out the name of that because I'm not going there. I got too many kids to be having, and
Not
I
good.
got ADHD, so I'm gonna turn around for a few seconds. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, like I said, right now my son's getting abducted by the oranges in the fruit section, but it could be the banberry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I said, we gotta figure out what that name of that is. Maybe we'll find it out and tell you guys later. But yeah, so unfortunately, like I said, they find him far outside the expected search area, 15 miles from where he disappeared. The boy is wedged inside a rocky opening halfway up a dangerous slope. The rescuers needed climb equipment just to reach him. His shoes were missing, but his feet are not dirty or damaged. Even though he had been missing for more than a month, the story claims he only died a day or two before being found. I guess that's like we were talking about before.
Yeah. There you go. So something that climbs rocks, obviously. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it would be the bear man or not.
I mean, if not the bear man, uh, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm just like thinking. I'm like, what other explanation other than maybe he tripped and fell. Maybe he was walking around. But at the same time, like it does. This story just doesn't make it asks us too many questions. I guess. Like
Yeah, well, like you said, they found him a day or two before. I mean, a day or two after he died. So, like, I wonder what he, like we were talking about, what he was doing, or where was he for the rest of the weeks beforehand?
oh yeah, because
Roaming with
it's
the creature,
right.
or being dropped off at one location from the creature, or escaped from the creature. I mean, who knows?
I guess if it was the man bear,
And then
maybe
got caught, and then he finally killed him.
maybe if it was the man bear, maybe it was like Jungle Book, dance around with the monkeys and stuff. With the bear and this, you know what I mean? Probably not, unfortunately, because it sounds like he did it a lot more tragic than that.
Yeah, it sounds like a little worse.
Oh yeah, but I mean that's exactly the question that we're all asking ourselves because even if you ignore every supernatural possibility, somebody had to move this child 15 miles, keep him alive for, weeks, and place him on
Yeah.
a slope that even trained rescuers struggled to climb, and then whatever it was left no obvious trail to even let them know what happened.
Or, as far as we know, the person who narrated this story and gave the story to whoever was reporting is making all this shit up.
I mean, that is, you know, probably really grim, man. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, we like to think about it, so that's just a really boring, probably correct
Oh
answer.
yeah, but
Like
yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty lame and cliche to say, but what the thing about these rabbit holes and like horror urban legends is, half these, this could be fucking made up just for clickbait or you know trends at this point. So it could be the narrator could be making this shit up. We never know.
right, but yeah, like you said, where I don't even know where the kid could have been for a month. Like, where would you hide a kid, for a month to keep him alive, but
Yeah,
also keep him clean? Are you giving this kid a bath? Like,
yeah, because they said his feet were clean.
right? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you just like here, little Timmy, you know, get in this bathtub.
That means, I mean, he could have been riding on something the entire time or being picked up the entire time. No
Maybe,
damage to his feet. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
maybe it was the man.
Bigfoot.
Maybe it was the
The
freaking
Bigfoot.
man bear again. He's
The
riding on the
man bear.
man bear's shoulders and not getting his feet dirty. But
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a connection.
I mean, like I said, at the same time, I'm like, this sounds like it all could be in the same area. Do you think an animal could have carried the body, I mean, of the child without damaging it? Feel like they
Yeah,
said,
like example, the man bear. So if you rode on his shoulders the entire time, a size like that's no issue for his strength, and his feet would never touch the ground. So I mean, I don't see why not.
yeah. I mean, maybe it's more like kind of like you ever see like a lion or something carrying its cub. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe if it was like an animal, maybe the lion was like, or maybe not a lion, but like a bear or a tiger or something. We're not sure where this is at, so maybe it's a different country where they have stuff like that. And maybe they were just carrying him by the t-shirt, just you know what I mean, just getting it. And
Yeah, or Bigfoot gets cradling like a baby.
he's like, "Oh, come here, little Timmy."
Yeah.
um,
Uh,
right, one thing that's kind of crazy about the whole thing is I don't think an adult abductor like we talked about earlier, possibly it being, could have placed him there unless this is some kind of like, Michael Jordan of climbing or something. Because he, like you said, like we were reading a while ago, is and
there's not that
they,
many creatures that can just climb a rock,
I don't know any
like
creatures, but
climb rocks that
you know,
really. I mean, there's like maybe some monkeys or some mountain lions, but I mean, it just depends on the angle. But there's not that many creatures.
yeah, it's true.
And for I don't know, for him to be wedged in the rock, it could be creature like because that's just what they do. They hide their, you know, they hide their whatever they kill. And for a human to go in that wits ends of trying to climb a rock and then yeah, and plus I feel like if a human did, that'd be damage to the feet
That's true.
or
Um,
some kind of dirt or wear and tear or something, some like you know what I mean?
right, you know. Um, so let's think of it in a scenario that we're in the search team. Um, you're helping with the search. The official search zone ends 5 miles back. But you look off in the distance, being curious and whatnot, and also like really want to help this family out, find their kid. But you spot something that looks like a T-shirt halfway up a cliff. Are you climbing toward it alone with no gear? Like obviously you're
With
in a search party and everything, so like somebody's expecting you to find him.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably have gear. Let's be honest, I'll probably have gear.
That's true. If you're
But
in the search party.
the thing is like going at it alone. Maybe,
I mean, if you did that
maybe not.
though,
I mean, it just depends. Like, I guess if it's in the day, maybe I probably would. Maybe.
yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, but at the same time though, knowing you're clumsy, so even if you had the gear on, somehow you're probably gonna forget to like put it together right, or maybe you thought you had it together right, and it's just not, and you gonna end up becoming the second missing person. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Or I might actually end up becoming just the next victim, whatever happened to the kid.
maybe you'll know if it's a man bear or if it's mama lion. I guess out here carrying the kid.
Mama, yeah,
I don't know if she's gonna be able to get your big ass up the mountain though, without getting your long boat ass feet dirty. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah, that's true.
got they like this. You got some
They
crazy
would.
Ronald McDonald feet.
Yeah, they'd get dirty for sure.
Facts. They'd also probably be able to find the trail where she had to drag your feet through the dirt.
Yeah, that's true. You see the feet marks as being tracked.
Oh yeah.
So it would have to be a bear man to lift my ass up.
Oh yeah. You know, but it's just crazy overall. Uh, just there's a lot of scenarios that just if you let your mind run that just make it you know
Yeah, I mean, there's countless of
scarier. You know
scenarios
what I
that it could
mean?
be.
It's like it makes it more frightening if you think about it. Like, um,
Yeah.
fucking just a bunch. I don't know. From a parent's perspective, if I had been the mom and you know they found my kid 15 miles from where he was supposed to be, not only am I gonna be already distraught that unfortunately my kid didn't make it, but also I'm gonna have so many questions. I'm gonna drive myself crazy. That's the scariest part. Like, not only
Well,
did you
what
lose your
what makes
son,
what would make it even more crazy is imagine if the child had returned but couldn't explain where he was or where he had been.
bro.
That's even more crazier.
You know what's crazy about that? If that was my kid, I have to get him therapy. So the crazy thing about it is, I'm gonna get a
Dude,
second job because I can't afford
which
the amount of therapy you would need.
what's craziest because so there's actually another story. It's like a whole case. This boy, I don't know, he was probably 3 or 4 years old. He went and got lost in the woods for oh man, it was like months, and he came back looking like a whole nother kid, and his eyes like stuck like he was
Oh,
stuck in trauma shock.
are you talking about the kid that's always on like TikTok with like the when they you know, like the thing with you like when you scroll and it's always some like real scary like like that weird music, you know what I'm talking about? It's like weird.
Yeah,
But like it's like
and the
this
kid had
it's that one
ginger
kid
hair.
he'd be like he
Yeah,
just look completely different.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually based on a true story. He got lost in the woods,
Maybe that's what this one
and,
took.
and they found him like completely like it's basically a completely different like boy, and his eyes like he was like stuck in trauma shock.
That I don't some of that makes
So
me
I feel like
wonder.
that's what I thought when I like if he would to come back and not explain what had happened
I
or where
mean,
he had been.
truly, bro, that would be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
I don't, but
Put me in a padded room at that point.
I mean, the mom's gonna have to be in a padded room from all the stuff that like would running through her mind, like especially because little boy doesn't know, so now she's worried what might come out of it that she doesn't know about, so she's running and thinking all the time, like, what am I gonna be looking for? What's gonna trigger my son? All that kind of stuff. I'm like, bro, crazy. But oh yeah, like there's all kinds of stuff. But like, let's move on. We got so many more of these. This thread, like I said, the rabbit hole just goes on forever. Um, we have the next one. The next story is called "The Man Saying Meow Like a Cat." I guess that's that. maybe he's, I don't know, something's wrong with this dude. Maybe he needs a padded room. He's saying meow. What the heck? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully it was just like meow, and he wasn't. Maybe he was really good at the impression. Maybe he sounded like a cat. I don't know.
Hmm.
Weird. Anyway, but before we get to the stairs, I need to give you one story that shows what kind of world this series is creating. An older woman is waiting on a trail while her husband walks a short distance away. Um, so she starts hearing what sounds like a cat, but something is off about it. The sound keeps getting closer, and eventually she realizes it's not a cat. Um, it sounds more like a man repeatedly saying the word meow in a strange
Meow.
buzzing
That sounds
voice.
nothing like a cow.
Right.
Meow.
It's like in a strange buzzing voice. She said, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you obviously I ain't ever heard no cat meow. I mean, it just sounds wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but she can't see him very clearly. But something begins emerging from the trees. She becomes so frightened that she passes out. Uh, Not a good idea, I don't think, especially with some random man running around meow meow. Like what the
Yeah.
heck. Um, Later the search officer, because all these got to involve some kind of search party. Um,
Of course.
as I said later, the search officer goes back alone to investigate. Why?
That's great.
I don't know. Near sunset,
That's
he
smart.
hears the same exact voice. What? So this man made a lady pass out. Apparently, I guess the cop heard about it, maybe, or I don't know. Maybe he's just out there because he heard the old lady's missing. I don't know. And he's
Mhm.
like, you know what? I don't need anybody else to come help me. There's a man out here meowing, but nobody's coming to help me. Well,
Yeah. No.
and he
But he's just
goes,
the one man sheriff. He's got it.
right, he's gonna go near sunset too. I'm waiting till the next day at least. Like he's out here at sunset. He already talking about meow. Now I gotta see him in the dark.
Yeah.
Oh no, bro. So
No.
a flat, mechanical sounding man repeats the same meow somewhere in the forest. Um, he walks towards it, but the sound does not get closer this time. It feels like it's coming from several directions all at once, and then it fades away.
Yeah. See, that would piss me off more than scare me.
You hear a grown man saying meow in the woods, and your reaction is anger? I think I'm a
Yeah, because
shit. Like,
no, because I gotta
yes.
figure out which motherfuckers messing with me and what do they want.
Yeah, you're right. Honestly, if we were together in the woods, which probably is happening if we're doing something fun, I was probably the dude saying meow. Yeah, I mean, just to fuck with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but while you investigate, the meowing gets closer behind you.
I mean, it's okay. I'm strapped. I have a gun.
But yeah, I mean, how are you planning to shoot a sound coming from every direction though?
I got plenty of bullets. I do it carefully.
All right, Deadpool. Like,
But I got plenty of bullets. Just make sure where I'm shooting at carefully.
uh, you know, were there a person saying meow is scarier? Do you think that would be scarier than hearing an what could be an unknown animal that might actually be dangerous more than the man?
Uh, no, I don't think that's scarier than someone saying meow.
I guess because animals they're more scared of you than you
Yeah,
are of them.
if I hear an unknown animal, I mean the sound's gotta be pretty freaking weird. It's something I can't recognize and sound pretty supernatural for me not to recognize it. But if it just sounds like a person saying meow, that's not scary at all. That would just annoy me and be like, what the fuck?
I mean, something I think would be scarier personally would be animals that like that could produce human sounding noises. Like, what if you like just walking through the forest and you see, a wolf being like, "What's up, bud? How you doing?" Like,
No.
what I mean? I'd be like, "What?" And then, of
Or
course,
what if it was just like a big creature actually just going meow?
it's the
Or
man.
that point,
It's the
by the
man
time
bear
I already
again.
see it, I'd be,
It's the
I'd give me shit out of luck.
it's the freaking man bear. He's like, meow. I got a kid over here with no dirty feet. You want some?
You want some?
So, oh man,
Ugh.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of
I
crazy
mean, I think
stuff.
what would be worse if like instead of like it meowing, you just saying your name, like hearing your own name.
No, especially from all the different directions.
I think hearing I don't know I'm holding a knife. I think hearing your own name would be worse than someone saying meow.
I mean, facts. Because, like, if I heard meow, maybe I can lie and tell myself that it's just my head messing with me. Or maybe we're like, maybe this cat is just sick and he sounds weird. I don't know.
No.
But,
If
like,
it says it's a human saying meow, I would know that someone's saying meow and that'd be fucking with me. So
that's
I would
probably
do whatever I
true.
find them.
That's probably
But
true.
someone saying my own name, okay. Well,
Right. I mean, like, could you imagine just from all directions you hear, Dakota, Dakota,
yeah.
Dakota? Yeah, I mean, that'd be awful.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be.
I mean, I don't know. The thing for me, though, is like, uh, I like we talked about earlier, being out camping and say we're sitting at the campfire, it's just me and you chilling, hanging out, eating Doritos, drinking Dr. Pepper, Ollipops, which are gross by the way. But um all of a
Beg differ
sudden,
that, but okay.
I mean we could debate in a different episode. Maybe we'll go over the history of like, you know,
Get drinks.
good drinks or like how Dr. Pepper or another cool soda can to be. I mean, you guys give suggestions on our social media if you want to, you know what I mean? But uh
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, baby. Anyway, sorry. Um, but
Mhm.
like I said, let's get there's a tangent for you. That's another. You know what I mean? But like we said, like I was talking about, we're sitting at the campfire. All of a sudden, you hear, "Help! I need help! There's a big hairy man bear out here." Do you go out? Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. Maybe that's not a big man bear, but you just hear something, a kid or a woman or maybe even another guy just help.
Yeah. If there's other people with me, then I would. If I'm by myself and I hear that, I'm not helping you. It's too late.
Yeah, especially if it's dark. I'm just like, bro, please just hopefully they take you and leave me alone. Not you
Yeah. But
specifically, but like
if
whoever it
I'm with
is.
somebody else or a group of people, well, we're going. But if it's just me, I'm good.
I don't know, man. It's it's just crazy to think it's freaking meow like out in the woods. This is crazy story. Some of these things are just crazy. Like you said, made up sounds like to me personally, but they're in the thread. Yeah, I mean they're in the rabbit hole.
Hmm.
But um, yeah, what sounds do you think would successfully lure you, to the woods? What like if you heard it, what would it be?
Like, what would cause me to go into the woods?
Yeah, other than obviously we talked about somebody yelling for help and you trying to be a good person. What's something that you think would lure you into the woods?
I guess like the obvious, like someone's saying meow, which means someone's out there who's fucking with me, and I want to go try to
He's
tend to it.
he's not going to slap somebody. He's like, stop saying meow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot of sounds that would get me to go out there because I mean, it's the woods. There's gonna be sounds in the woods, so I'm not really gonna go out there and get fucked with it.
I mean, yeah, like normal animal sounds and stuff. Sure, I'm gonna ignore that probably, but like,
If I'm
yeah.
hearing a meow, then
I mean, that's
it's
different though. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's one of those
yeah,
weird things that like isn't
it's
normal.
gotta
I mean,
be more human-like, I guess.
I don't know. I guess
But I mean, that's just not. I mean,
they'd probably get me if they were, you know, doing like vocal stems for me. You know what I mean? Just be like, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. You know what I mean? I'd be like, who is it? You know what I mean? That's too
hello.
damn bad. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
or it's free real estate. Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah, dog.
oh man, I
Uh,
bro. So what would you do if it was my voice in the woods and but I was sitting right next to you?
uh, stay right there. Shit my pants.
What if only you were the one who heard it though? Like, what if it was like I'm sitting next to you, we're just coking and joking, you just hear me talking to you for the woods, but I'm still hanging out with you right here, and you're like, hey, did you hear that? I'm like, bro, what are you talking about?
Well, then I would think that you have spiked something that I've drinking or eaten.
I would do that. I would do you dirty like
I
that.
would. Uh, I would think I had taken something.
Oh,
and then go a little crazy.
but you know, I need a padded room probably. Yeah, if you literally was just like, "Bro, I don't hear anything. I'm not talking to you. I'd be like, bro, I swear to God. Yeah, if you just drive me insane, I'd be like, bro, this, you be trying to call police. Yeah, I'd be like, something's wrong with this dude. I gotta get some help. Um, oh yeah, but now that we got through the weird meow story, uh, we're gonna finally get to the stairs. We're finally gonna get to the story about the stairs.
There we go.
uh, at the end of the first post, the narrator casually introduces the detail that turned the entire series into an internet legend. He claims that when search teams travel extremely deep into the wilderness, sometimes 30 or 40 miles, they occasionally find staircases. Yeah, like we talked about earlier, it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
Who's building these staircases?
some basic human ass built construction stairs and just in the middle of the woods.
Bro, I don't know. I'm like, bro, who's building these stairs? Anyway,
Yeah,
so in this post they say some of the stairs they're all different. Some of the stairs they're wooden. Yeah, some of the stairs have carpet on them. Some stairs are metal and they have like a weird spiral shape to them. Yeah. They appear some can appear old and damaged. Others supposedly look completely new, like they were just built today. Um, most of them, if not all of them, are not attached to a building. They just appear to go nowhere. There's no visible foundation. They simply rise straight into the air and stop. Veteran officers act like seeing them as normal, but they also warn rookies not to approach them. The narrator in the post always asks why. Nobody ever explains. They just tell them to ignore the stairs and keep searching.
I'm still gonna climb them. By the way, still have to. I got to see what happens.
You've now heard about missing children, impossible mountain locations, and the Meow Man.
The Meow Man. Ah, that's cool. But none of these have directly been connected to the stairs yet. So where's what's the connection?
You're using legal loopholes against the forest demons.
I need evidence.
Okay, fine. Let's get some evidence. The first post describes the stairs as reoccurring deep in the wilderness, while part two of it adds that they are supposedly they vary in material, shape, age, and condition. Um,
Hmm.
uh, you know, one of the things I read is just people talking about going up them and just not coming back. And I'm still, a little upset because I was hoping somebody would come back. Maybe it'll be you since you keep talking about climbing these freaking stairs and tell me whether or
My
not
luck, I probably wouldn't.
what's
As much
this
as my curiosity has struck me.
right. I mean, but what like I said before, what's the snacks like, at the other side of the forest demon dimension or whatever that's at the top of the stairs? You know what I mean? Do they have Dr. Pepper? Maybe. I guess you have to let me know because I'm not climbing the stairs.
You know, I would probably climb the stairs. I don't know about like, I don't know. They have to be really creepy looking for me to not.
Okay. Okay, so you're talking about things that would keep you from doing it, or maybe you would do it. Um, let's do some scenarios. Uh, so you walk out in the woods doing your little search thing or whatever, however you want to do it. Maybe you're just walking along, walking your dog because you guys went on a big long hike or whatever. I don't know why you're walking the dog that far, but maybe you are. Or maybe you're part of the search team, but you find ordinary wooden stairs in the woods during the daytime. You get $100 if you touch the bottom step. Do you do it?
Yes, and heartbeat.
Even if you possibly do, you could get sucked into the forest dimension by just touching it. For $100, you do it.
Well, we don't know that. This is a scenario. And you said an ordinary wooden stairs. So as far as I know, they're just plain wooden stairs.
Yeah, I guess in this scenario you'd have to. We could play like you never heard of of the special stairs. I guess. Um,
So I'm game. I'm doing it.
right. Um, like I said, I probably would never. climb or even mess with a pair of stairs, but maybe there's something that could to do it. I don't know. Maybe I'd be faced with that scenario. I don't know. Um, but I bet you could come up with a better scenario than me since you want to critique my scenario.
You'd probably do this one. Let's see, we'll call this what scenario two. Um, I'd say you get $1,000 if you get to walk around them and check underneath them. But you do that.
Do I have to touch it, or is I could all I have to do is just walk over there and check and see what's underneath it?
Right? Check underneath it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could use that money to buy Dr Pepper. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of Dr Pepper for $1,000.
Okay, so you're okay with not touching them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll walk near them. I didn't, I mean, I know that in the beginning, the narrator guy says, not to get even near them or do anything, but like, yeah,
You'll
that
get near it and look underneath it for 1,000. So
I'm just,
technically, it's still an effect of like of the stairs. Maybe just getting close to looking around underneath. So you still do it.
I guess you got me there, but all right, I think I got a better one this time.
So
So you have to climb to the top of said stairs, whatever stairs you could think of. Could be nice stairs, could be rickety, just funky looking stairs. I don't know. But you get $100,000 and your dream house, we'll say, to stand on the top step of it for 60 seconds. Do you do it?
yeah,
You gonna do it?
yeah. I'll risk it for the biscuits.
Like I said again, hopefully they have biscuits, because if not, you'll be very disappointed on the other side of that forest dimension.
I ain't scared of no meow man. Come on.
He go meow.
Dude, that meow man, what a name of a creature. Meow man.
I just pulled that one out of the hat while ago. You know what I mean? That was I has kind of been trying to come up with a good name for him, and since we were talking about Bear Man so much, I was like, you know what? He's gonna be Meow Man. Because I thought Cat Man, but I was like, that didn't sound right. Cat Man just sounded dirty or something. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cat Man. So we got Meow
But
Man.
yeah, I would do it. I would do it. I know you would, but I know I would.
I don't know if I'd stand on the top. That's just not enough money. Because like I don't know. I think I'd have to have predetermined terms, like a little more information. Maybe like,
You're
can I?
taking gamble just by even going around it out there in the woods alone.
That's true, but like,
So if I'm already out there 30 miles in the woods looking at this staircase, what's it gonna hurt for me already to climb on it and stand on it for a minute?
you know, I don't know. But for me, I'm gonna have to like, I don't, I'm gonna have to freaking figure out like, first off, who's giving the money? Where's it coming from? Yeah, I guess if it's you, maybe we'll
Okay,
know.
I'm
But
not I'm not even worried about that. He said
well,
I'll get it, I'll get it.
I'm saying like, is this dude trustworthy? Am I gonna get the money if I don't die, or whatever happens on the other side of the forest dimension, or whatever happens at the top of the stairs, bottom of the stairs? I don't know. But also like, can I get that money in advance, or do I have to do what he asked for first? Because like, if I die, maybe the kids will be able to take care of the money, and I'll do it for them. But like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Here, let's see. I have one more.
Hit me with it.
You get $10 million, but while you're standing at the bottom, you hear your wife calling your name from the top.
Is she on the hike with me, or is like,
No,
is she in
it was
trouble?
only me and you.
Oh, so it's just me and you still in the forest, and I hear my wife. No, I don't know, brother. And there's nothing connected. I love my old lady, I mean, my wife, that she's awesome. But like, if she wasn't on this hike originally, and these stairs, and as I can tell, lead to nothing. Where is she? You know what I mean? What is she? How is she calling my name from the top? Like, this is a trap. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that may be the line where I
That
draw
was
it right
that
there.
was rigged. You know what I mean? Like, bro. Same thing.
Yeah,
Like, if it were my kids, the same way. You're just like, you hear one of my kids, "Daddy, I need help." They weren't on the hike, first off, and where are they at? I'm not doing
yeah,
that. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No,
I don't think you
good.
could get me with that. That was too much risk. Cause like,
No.
And logic just tells you like you're
I
just too
guess I
questionable.
guess once you actually hear or see or feel any effects from being around the stairs in the woods from the stairs, that's when I that's when I call it.
That's true. You know, if you decided to do one of the scenarios for some reason and you actually thought about doing it, but you were able to like I don't know, fly a drone up there, do you think that would help your decision a little quicker or no? Just so you could kind of see what was up there before you risked it yourself?
Damn, it just depends how tall these damn stairs are. Because if I can see the top of them, well then,
I mean, yeah, I guess if you just kind of hit one of those, you are pretty tall, so I guess you could see, you know, I don't know.
I guess if I flew a drone in over the woods before going in, seeing what's in the woods and what's around the stairs. Um, but no, not with the it responding to you with the voices and stuff. Hell no, still
I
with the
mean,
drone that wouldn't convince me.
I don't know. Maybe I'll have to ask my wife to throw down some wipes because, like, I'm probably gonna be pretty scared. I might be smelling pretty bad.
Throw me some wipes.
I got IBS. You know what I mean? Like, it might be a bad day. The stress is awful. Like, just
Throw
just
me some
fucking just
wipes.
like I need the dude wipes. You know what I mean? Just but I don't know. Uh, what do you think makes it scarier? Um, like a what seems to be like a brand new staircase, or like an old like what you could tell looks like it's been there a while kind of staircase.
Because then I'll think of like there used to be in a building here hundreds of years ago.
I mean, yeah, there's more
So
story.
probably a new staircase.
I think so too, because like at least the old staircase, you kind of could, you know, your mind, your like you said, your brain kind of runs quickly with it, and you
Yeah.
say, you
The
know,
history was here, you know.
right, you kind of like build something off of. You're like, oh, there's a reason these are here. But like, if it's brand new stairs, you're like, are they working on the building? Did they not finish the building? Like, what
Yeah.
happened? Where'd they come from?
Yeah. Who dropped these here?
Man, you know, the thing is, I was thinking about it too, though. It's like we've been talking about what happens immediately. Um, like say we talk to, you know, we walk to the top of the stairs, or we touch the stairs, or get too close, and all of a sudden we're, you know, zapped into said forest demon dimension or whatever you want to call it. But what happens if it's kind of like, um, what's that movie called with the girl with the black hair that's she's like wet or
The
whatever?
ring. You get like
Yeah,
3 days. You get 3 days before something happens to you.
right.
I was just thinking of that. So yeah, once you watch the tape, you have 3 days. I think it's 3 or 5 days
It,
for your death,
instead,
basically.
instead in this one, you got 2 days because you touched the bottom step, and Meow Man's gonna get you.
Hey, for $100.
Oh man, um, you know, the last question that we just were talking about is important because stories claim that sometimes the person who climbs the stairs is completely fine, and then some disappear, which is wild.
See, now that sounds like the stairs are making excuses.
I mean, or maybe the stairs are collecting a payment. Like we said, like maybe they I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Well, what's that one? So one dies and
uh
oh, it's I'm thinking like Final Destination. Whoever I'm talking about, like
I mean, if we're climbing to the top of the stairs to the forest dimension, ain't no final destination. We know it's the destination
now
we're headed to. Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
trying to figure out how Final Destination worked. They all like witnessed, uh,
it's been a long time since I've seen that one. I'm
and then
not.
like
Maybe we'll have to talk about that one later when we get a little
one
more.
if one happened, then if you watched it, whoever watched it, passes it on to the next person in like an order.
Oh yeah, I think yeah, you're right. I think it's been so long. I'm telling you, I think I
Dude,
was,
I haven't seen it
bro.
in forever, but that's what I'm thinking. Like it's like a collective payment. It's like, oh, you watched someone die in this huge accident of people's deaths,
Oh yeah,
and this it goes down these list of people who witnessed it, and it's just like going one by one.
I mean,
And if a person prevents like their time death, it just goes on to the next one. It's like this loop. Not
you,
say loop, but
you know how I was
you know,
saying like it's been a long time since I watched Final Destination. Something crazy though. Like I'm talking about, it's so long ago that I don't remember any of the characters, what they look like, none of that kind of stuff. But do you know the one thing that I do remember? And I
But
know you know what I'm talking about. You ever driving down the road and
the
like
log
you see the log truck and you just get immediately you're like, I'm gonna
I
switch.
see them every day.
He's like, I'm gonna switch lanes. Skirt. Yeah, I mean like,
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it.
The one I really do remember was the laser eye
Oh
uh
yeah.
surgery one. Yeah, that one
I think I saw that one again on TikTok one day. Like I think that
that was
was
funky.
yeah.
Yeah, that was funky.
Oh, man, that's crazy. It's been so long. That old stuff, yeah. I mean, nostalgia is crazy. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so we're talking about the stairs again. We're deep in stair territory. Sorry about that, guys. Um, this one we got another story that came out the rabbit hole called "The Officer Who Climbed." So I guess we finally get to find out maybe what happened to somebody. What do you think? Maybe,
We'll see. Maybe.
possibly.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I'm
know.
fiddling with my pocket knife.
That is what it is. I mean, this is a Discord call. We're having a good time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. But so with this story, eventually the series gives us a story of an officer who ignores the warning. Dummy. He's helping search for a
That's his fault.
missing. Yeah, right. He must be like you, talking about climbing the freaking stairs.
I
Um,
didn't have a warning before that. I was told it was an ordinary wooden staircase.
no, I warned you. I read you the warning at the beginning. He said, "Don't go near it. Don't climb it. Leave it alone. Don't touch it." And what you say? I'm gonna climb it. Disappointing.
The money? Yeah, it would.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess the money we could negotiate, maybe. Um. Anyway, so he's does this officer. He's helping search for a missing teenage girl when a staircase. He notices a staircase away from the main search line or search area, whatever. I thought line sounded weird, but that's what the thing said. Um, this set looks like it came from a new house. The carpet is white and completely clean. There's no dirt, no leaves, no insects, and no signs of animals or anything. Um, so he approaches it, nothing happens. He touches the carpet, still nothing. So he climbs to the top, and he just stands there. At first, he feels fine, and then he gets an overwhelming feeling that he is somewhere he's not allowed to be. It's not simply fear. It's more like he accidentally walked into a restricted area, and somebody is about to catch him. That's crazy. Um, the longer he stands there, the stronger the feeling becomes. Then all of a sudden, all sound disappears. He can't hear the sounds of the forest anymore. None of the bugs, none of the little animals, no rustling of the leaves or anything in the trees. Um, he can't hear his own breathing. It's like it's weird. It's almost he says as he states in the story, or not him, but the person who talks about it. It's complete silence. He gets down and then he rejoins the search party. And when the team returns, his trainer is waiting for him. The trainer looks furious and tells him that he knows he climbed the stairs. The officer, he says, "Man, how could you possibly know I climbed the stairs? Um, you weren't even with us." And the trainer says the dogs lost the missing girl's scent. And then he threatens to fire him if he ever climbs another staircase.
But that still doesn't explain how the trainer knew. Like how he knew. Doesn't explain it.
Exactly. That's what makes this story wild. Like I said, this whole rabbit hole is just confusing, but it was just interesting enough to keep me entertained. And I guess now again tonight we're going through it again. Um, But yeah, the question is, did the trainer see him? Did the staircase affect the search at all? Actually, what how did the trainer be like, oh, they lost the scent of the girl, so it must be your fault? Does climbing it cause someone else to disappear? Like is it like what we said? You trade places with somebody. You
Yeah, like the payment.
yeah, I'm like, or had enough people broken the rule before that the trainer recognized what happens afterwards.
Or maybe the trainer is the one who's putting the stairs out there. That's a trap.
Oh, how? Wait, what do you mean? Explain how he would be doing that. Like one dude putting
I
out
don't know.
stairs?
Like government staircase program.
And what is the government gaining from this?
You don't know. I don't know. That's why it's classified. The clean carpet staircase disappearance and, sound and trainer confrontation appear.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you
Some
know.
kind of experiment.
I guess it really makes you wonder. What are the stairs exactly? Um,
Yeah. That or, the trainer has already been demonetized from the stairs and is just working as bait for the stairs, just to collect more people to make more of,
oh, so you're
them.
so you're making up theories here now. Is that what you're saying? We're gonna have a theory that I guess the stairs are like Galactus and the trainer's his herald. Is that what we're saying here?
No, I'm saying the stairs are a possessed item and it just is possessing people to it's almost like the Evil Dead thing. The book is the possessed item and it's using other people to possess more to become them.
Oh, so you're saying the trainer doesn't have he doesn't have the choice to hurt other people. He just has to do what he has to do because
Yes.
he climbed the stairs and made the mistake. Okay.
Yes. He climbed the stairs before.
Well, if you had to come up with any other theories to try to explain the stairs or what they are, what they do, and stuff like that, what would you think would be a fun theory? Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean,
I have a couple, but I'm gonna let you go first.
I guess that like the stairs are like a place in the forest, like they're places in the forest, and humans can't resist investigating what they are. That's like a lure, like almost like a bait thing.
I know what
Like I'm saying,
I know what debate
the
is.
like a lure theory. Like I'm saying, like using the trainer as like a part of it to bait them in and to lure,
I know what the debate
or
is.
like they use the stairs as curiosity for people in the woods because like they're like, what the fuck, this is weird.
Nah, I think the bait in your lure theory, as you say it, is probably the Mexican pizza that's in the Demon Taco Bell.
Oh my
That's what's that's what's
god. Okay.
that's what's luring people there. Have you ever had
Left field.
Mexican pizza?
Left field.
Amazing, brother. You know, um, yeah, I like to think a fun theory would be um that that it could be something kind of like there's maybe it's like a I don't know, like a reality glitch or something. I like maybe like a weird like place in the universe that time fits differently because you fall through. I don't know, like a backrooms kind of deal, I guess. Um, you know, maybe all the stairs are connected somehow, and so when you like crawl to the top, you get lost in like the backrooms style thing or whatever. I don't. I'm just spitballing. Yeah, I mean, but I think that would be cool. Yeah, I mean, um, the stairs are to the backrooms. Maybe that's what they are.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. Or like we were talking about earlier, it's maybe like like how the old looking stairs, like they could be just abandoned structures, and the entire supernatural rule was created for the story. Like all what happened to whatever was around those stairs was an abandoned building, and the stairs were just left.
mm,
And whatever happened there, the stairs remained, and that became the only piece of possession for whatever to be whatever entity and to be summoned into that, if that makes sense. Maybe there were some actual abandoned structures, and maybe
so
that's how
the
it started.
so you're saying like the stairs are cursed objects? Like basically, like you
Yeah,
touch it and you
yeah,
become possessed.
yeah,
Maybe I mean maybe that's what um the trainer maybe he's possessed by the wooden stair ghost. I don't know,
yeah.
whatever.
What I was saying, like maybe it's more theories in one, into one.
Right. So why do you
Yeah.
think that um in this rabbit hole or set of stories that they chose stairs? specifically, like why didn't they choose random doors or bathtubs or I guess kitchen cabinets or something?
Because stairs are always up to something.
But all right, got my ass.
That was funny. I don't know. Because I mean, you can always think about it. So, whenever you do see abandoned buildings and stuff, stairs are part of the stuff that lasts long, like
Maybe,
the longest lasting of whatever.
I mean, I guess so,
And
because
and so I this could be a thing is because this is one of the last parts of the buildings that they can possess, or maybe because entities know that people just are curious about stairs and will climb them. I don't know. That could be a hundred number of things.
maybe it's like we talked about with like the supernatural stuff. Maybe they figured if somebody saw a random toilet or bathtub in the woods, they just keep walking because yeah, I mean, who sits on a random toilet in the woods? Yeah, I mean, like, it's like I'm not. There's
I mean,
probably snakes in there.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm good.
I mean, I
I
guess
mean,
if
it's like, why do you think demons have enough time or experience? What do you think they have to install carpet on some of these stairs? So called, there's some with carpets, as what we read earlier.
you know,
You
maybe
you would
they're.
think these demons have construction experience to install carpet?
I don't. Maybe I. Somebody had to build the demon Taco Bell. Yeah, I mean, somebody had to construct it. Yeah, I mean, maybe
Oh
maybe
gosh.
they do. Maybe they had to you know, maybe they install the carpet to help lure some people in. Maybe it makes it comfortable for some people. I don't know. Maybe it makes it feel more warm and inviting. I guess on the new ones, I guess grimy, nasty carpet on some old ones would be not so
Hmm.
good. But I don't know. Um, yeah. Do you think that the warnings that the trainer gave you think they're actually a warning or you think it's to entice people to like test the rules? I think it's
I guess
both.
it just depends on the person who lives by risk or not,
Yeah.
or people who just don't give a fuck about stuff like that. Because I mean, that could seem like you mean to tell me that these staircases randomly in the woods are haunted? Bullshit.
I mean,
Or there are
true.
some people who are like, "Fuck it, yeah, touch it.
I mean,
What's he gonna do?"
you'd be like Nemo, gotta touch the butt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great example. The butt, aka the boat, is the stairs, and people are always told not to go touch it. And look, I mean,
now they're
he still, at his own decision, decided to go touch it.
now they're living in a dentist office in a fish tank.
Yeah.
Maybe they're living in the demon Taco Bell's fish tank. Maybe that's where they're staying
Oh
at.
God.
They get abducted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put Yeah, just put right back into the demon Taco
Just right
Bell.
back in.
Yeah. Maybe that's how they make the food at the demon Taco. Maybe it's like chopped up people. Ugh, that's sinister. I don't know about that. That's a little wild. But
Yeah.
oh yeah, uh I was wondering, one of the biggest thing I was wondering about while I was reading through the rabbit hole was what happens when people touch them, like is there anything in there? And I actually did find a thing that says later in the series a veteran finally explains why the stairs are treated seriously. He says that some people climb them and nothing obvious happens, and other times somebody touches or reaches the top step and they suffer an impossible injury. In one account, a man reaches toward a nearby branch and loses his hand instantly. It's cut perfectly clean and the hand is never recovered. See, supporting my Taco Bell theory. Somebody's cutting off hands, put it on the Mexican pizza. you know, it
It
said in
just
that.
makes. Are you hungry?
Nah, just maybe. I don't know. It is kind of late. Taco Bell's. Doom. You know what I mean? It's in my head. I don't know.
Yeah. We're
But
hungry.
another person they touched the staircase and suddenly they collapsed from a catastrophic brain injury. That I don't have any connection for that one. The veteran's real warning is that even when the person on the stairs comes down unharmed and something bad supposedly happens afterwards. A search fails, a person disappears, somebody dies in another part of the park. He also claims that the same staircase can never be located twice.
See, I will say though, the hand being cut clean changes some things.
So you
It
not
does.
so you're not climbing anymore?
I didn't say that. I'm just keeping my hands in my pockets.
Yeah, you better hope you go up there safely, or the bleed. You know, you think the demon stairs respect technicalities? I think they want your hand, regardless whether it's in your pocket. They're taking your hand. They
I mean,
got
we can't say we haven't established that they don't.
right. The later warnings reported injuries and claimed that the staircase cannot be found twice. Uh, so maybe we'll hear more about that and why. I don't know. Um, so we're getting another story that it popped up, and now it's called the Fuzzy Man. This one connects kind of back to the story about the band bear or bear man, however we phrase
Oh,
that one.
man,
Um,
bear man. Oh,
yeah. Um, a family loses one young son in a park. Months later, they return to leave flowers at the memorial. They bring their other son with them. The parents lose sight of him for a few seconds, and he disappears too. That's awful.
hmm,
The searchers find nothing for nearly 2 weeks. Then a volunteer discovers the child about 15 miles outside the main search area. That sounds familiar.
mm-hmm.
He is alive. Oh, good. Oh, thank goodness this time. His clothes are clean, and he does not appear starved or badly injured.
A pattern
Yeah, this sounds like a pattern, but also
being
like,
played.
why are these? Why does this man bear seem to take better care of these kids than their parents are? What the heck is going on?
Mm,
Um,
weird.
So yeah, it says the child says he had been staying with someone he calls the Fuzzy Man. Huh, Fuzzy
It
Man,
sounds
huh?
like a really hairy man.
I think of Bigfoot, like you said earlier. Now, oh yep. So at first, the officer assumes he means hairy, like Bigfoot. The kid says no. The man was fuzzy, like an image you cannot bring into focus. Whoa. His
So he was
entire
really hairy.
yeah. So his entire body looked blurry. The child says the figure itself had no eyes and no mouth, but it still could
It's weird.
become angry and make a loud sound. It kept him near a hollow tree, fed him berries, and gave him a small bundle of sticks tied together. The strangest part is the child's explanation for being released. The fuzzy man originally planned to keep him, then it decided he was not the kind he wanted. The boy cannot explain what that meant. His brother has never been found.
Shit. That's probably worse than the stairs.
Right. I mean, because what was the right kind of kid? You know?
Maybe it wanted the brother.
Uh, Maybe it took the first child, then came back to compare them to see which one was better.
Or or maybe it let this kid go because it knew it would tell everybody.
Yeah, I mean, maybe so. Which would mean the story itself is part of whatever it wanted. The surviving child and his description of the blurry, faceless figure um, must be. They got to be more in this story. They can't end it like this. I hope not. Um,
Yeah. No mouth, no eyes,
oh
but it
yeah.
still can make noises. Hmm.
Huh. The thing is crazy when you ask yourself about like this story that we've read here is you know why why keep the child alive and make sure he's taken care of properly, like fed and kept clean and stuff. Like why, if you're a bad dude or whatever, like why?
Or creature.
Or a creature, yeah, whatever it is. Obviously now we know it's supposedly, if these are connected, that that's not a man bear. It's just a static man, I guess. Or maybe he's no signal man. I don't know. I don't know if you got no. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Do you think that the fuzzy man is the same creature as the bear man, or do you think that
I
they're
don't see why
different?
not. I don't see why not because they both seem to be, I say attracted, but they seem to like kids and they're boys. Again, they're both as descriptive as really hairy. we didn't get a description of the face of Bearman because maybe it was so far and the daughter never saw the face of it.
That's
So
true.
there's a clear connection. We're not really getting a location of the forest, but we're all getting like distances deep in the woods, 15 to 30 miles. So that's like another connection. They're both they're both being kept clean. And, but I mean, the fuzzy man seems to let the kid go, but the bear man, the kids die.
That's true. That's why I think they could be different. Because I mean, also as well, like what we talked about,
I
and
guess maybe what if their accident kills?
I mean, maybe they were accidental. Maybe the kid was trying to run away, and he had to hide him as best he could, or something. Um,
Who
may-
knows?
Maybe he used them for life force. Maybe that's a cool theory. Maybe he used them for life. Maybe like sucked the life, the youth out of them, and as long as he kept them happy and healthy, maybe they stay alive longer. And so he
Yeah.
maybe maybe that's how he
I
stays
mean,
alive.
yeah. I mean, this could bring another thing is the whole guinea suit. I mean, it could be a guinea suit since you can't see no eyes or face.
The heck is a guinea suit? You
Is that
talk
what it's called?
you talk about like the thing we talked about earlier that like they wear
Yes.
to camouflage. That's a ghillie suit.
Gilly, not guinea.
It's a ghillie suit. What the fuck?
I was questioning when I said guinea.
I was thinking guinea. I'm
Gilly,
like, what is that? Oh
guinea.
man,
Gilly suit because you can't see a face,
that's true. I
but you
mean,
still can't make a noise.
that's true. I mean, the funny thing is too, like how we try to
And
say
I and it said in the Bearman that he spoke to him.
that's true. I mean,
So it could just be a man in a ghillie suit who has a really weird and strong motive of just doing it in the woods and happens to know when families are coming out there. It's got to be some kind of park,
that's what I'm thinking too.
obviously,
It must be all connected or something because these
like
are
some
all.
big national park.
Uh, Hopefully, it's not one near us because I'm trying to stay away from the fuzzy man. That doesn't
I'm
sound
good.
fun.
That just doesn't sound. It just doesn't sound good, fuzzy man.
I mean, I like fruit and other stuff as much as the next dude, but like I think berries after a while is gonna get old, and it didn't sound like he's giving anybody McDonald's or Taco Bell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I don't know what these berries are. It seems like they're just getting berries off whatever they find in a trail or whatever around picnic tables or can't. I mean, they're just picking up random berries and not know what they're eating.
Bro, I don't know. You know, the thing too is it makes you wonder is like it's the same. It kind of connects like how we talked about before. Like the little girl, didn't get taken, and she was able to go back and be able to try to kind of tell the story, and the other her brother never was found, and in the same way, in this story you have the two brothers. The one brother got, he got let go and told he could go home so he could tell the story, but so what was different? What like we go back to the thing that what makes him the kind of child or person or whatever that he wants, which is
So
weird.
you're
Yeah,
you're saying like, why are these creatures allowing there to be witnesses?
I mean that's true too. But like also like what made the kids different? Like why did he choose the boy over the sister or whatever to be the witness? Why didn't he choose the girl to take back? Maybe that's I
I
don't
think
know.
it's just like I don't know, but I think and it's funny that his only witnesses are only kids.
That's true. Maybe he feels like if he tried to, let a mom or dad go, that they would be able to like give a better description or something, and he'd be found quicker. I don't know.
Clearly the creature's smart to only have kids only see what happens and to discreetly
hmm
return them and keep them alive.
One thing that did stick out to me in this story that was different from the first one is the boy mentions that he was given like a twig bundle, like almost like a toy or whatever. Um, do you think there was a reason for that? Do you think that it was like a supernatural being? Maybe like the fuzzy man could. It was like
Maybe
a.
it was like a kindness, like a almost like a I wouldn't say a toy, but almost like a way of saying like he's not bad.
Maybe it
He
was a
needs
peace
to
offering. Yeah, maybe that could be.
maybe it's a peace offering or like some kind of like remember me type deal.
maybe maybe it
Or
also,
maybe he's trying to give to them like a that I do exist. Maybe
I don't know.
but
Yeah,
he's
it's
not
weird.
lying.
That's weird. Yeah, that's one of those things that you ask yourself. You're like, why? I mean, because we don't find out why. Was it possibly something to help protect him? Because, like you said, maybe he wasn't a bad guy, and there were other bad things around that he needed to
No.
protect him from, or could it be like a tracking device or something, like some kind of weird supernatural witch tracking? I don't know, something weird tracking device, basically, so that way, um, he could find him later on easier or something. I don't know. Makes you wonder.
Or it could have just been a pile of twigs and meant nothing.
That's true. That's very true. Well, so now that we've tried to debate and figure out what the heck the man bear is, or the fuzzy man, here's another man for you. This one's called the faceless man. Um, Woods in this series are not only filled with missing people and staircases, there are also repeated stories about figures that look human until somebody gets close enough to see their face. One climber reached the top of a mountain and he sees a man wearing winter clothes but carrying no climbing equipment. When the figure turns around, its face is completely smooth. The heck? Um, the climber panics, falls, and breaks his leg. He's trapped overnight. He claims he hears the faceless man slowly climbing down the mountain and making muffled screaming noises. Another officer follows what he assumes is a lost hiker through the woods. The person moves strangely and it seems to exaggerate the motion of breathing, like it's pretending to be human but isn't. When the officer shines a light on its face, there's nothing there. Then a split opens across his throat like a mouth, and the officer runs.
No.
That's your complete analysis on that one? Like, that's your thought?
Yes. No.
Yeah, but you out here talking about, yeah, I'll still climb the stairs.
The stairs don't have a throat mouth.
As far as we know. And, like, the climber's first faceless encounter, um, appeared in part one of the story, while the breathing figure with a mouth like opening in its throat appears later on. So are they connected? Maybe. Are they all the same person?
Well, because now we're getting no face, the rocks, muffled noises. So it seems like all very similar, but this one screamed and had a throat mouth, and it seemed to purposefully attack
I don't know.
adults. This is the
Weird.
first adult, and so it seems like it could be the same creature, but it has something against adults.
I don't
Maybe because
know,
they're not innocent.
bro. I don't know. Um, it's crazy. Uh, you know, one thing I think a lot of these end up being is like people being tired or just being really dark, or maybe they thought they saw something and they panicked and now they done made up something crazy in their mind so they don't seem stupid. I don't know. Uh, because like that dude, a person with no face just sounds. That sounds like some made up stuff. Yeah, I mean, like that sounds like something you thought up late at night when you were trying to figure out how to become interesting in a conversation. You know
When
what I
I
mean?
hear people with no faces, I immediately think of Silent Hill.
Yeah,
Most of the creatures don't even have a face, but they got a head,
yeah.
no face.
I mean, like the little spitters, them are paying the butt.
Yeah, the spitters are the nurses. No face.
Shoot.
So I guess seeing that would be kind of
Oh yeah. I mean, uh, talking about like Silent Hill and iconic like horror stuff. Uh, what horror movie monster do you think you could realistically um beat in a fight? What do you think?
horror movie monster.
Or we'll even open it up to maybe not just horror movies, but horror. Like I guess you could do horror games too, something like that. You could go, maybe it's The Last of Us, like zombies
You're
or whatever,
nuts. No,
or
no.
maybe it's one of those faceless creatures you were talking about for Silent Hill, or you know, maybe I know one that I wouldn't want to mess with is like those little creature things that are from Las Plagas and Resident Evil 4. Those they're vicious, man. I wouldn't want
Or
to mess with them.
Nemesis or Resident Evil 3. I
Oh
wouldn't.
man,
That's the thing. My
yeah, no, I'm good on that. I'm getting beat up because he beat what's her name up so bad the whole game. That's all that whole game was just how fast can you run away from Nemesis? Like that's all that was.
yeah. You're
But
gonna beat realistically in a fight.
I think if I had to fight like a horror movie monster, I don't know if they count this as a monster per se because he's not really a monster, but he is a horror movie villain. I mean, like Scream. Like I think I could mess up the dude in the Scream costume because he's just some dude with a knife.
I
You know
mean,
what I
you
mean?
could say Chucky.
Mm, possibly. I mean, but the thing about Chucky is you can't really beat him. He doesn't die. I mean, you can't kill him. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess you could
It's a,
burn him or something, but
yeah. I mean, it would be Chucky all day. That'd
yeah.
be my first choice.
Like I said, I think I'm still going like the Scream, whoever in the Scream costume is, and whatever movie you want to pick. Because yeah, I mean, some of them may be more trained than others or whatever, and it might be a little harder. But like at the end of the day, most of the time it's just some skinny college kid with a kitchen knife. Like I think I could overpower him if I kick him in the kneecap or something first. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. He's successfully killed so many people.
That's true. Maybe I'm overestimating him.
Yeah,
Um.
just a little bit.
Oh yeah. The man, something that you think about. Sometimes we overthink stuff like that. I could, because for me, I'm like, when people you see them die in a scary movie, you're like, why did you make that choice? Or like, man, I would have never ran back towards the dude to help so and so in there because they're like, oh, I gotta help the girl who's already like probably gonna die anyway. Let me go over there, and then she dies too or gets messed up, and I'm like, the girl was already bleeding out. You could have made it. Now you're out here bleeding out your leg.
Yeah,
You know what I
no.
mean? I don't know. Um, yeah, the um this rabbit hole just seems like it's just keeps going, and I we could probably sit here for hours. You know what I mean? But um, one of the things that I thought was really interesting in there is you know uh, outside the story itself, people in the comments began saying that they had seen steps, foundations in abandoned structures in forests. Some claimed that the stairs made them uncomfortable. Others gave completely normal explanations. Old settlements get abandoned, wooden houses rot or burn, like we've talked about before. Stone and concrete steps can remain long after the rest of the structure disappears. Um, you know, Governments buy land and remove old buildings. Maybe they just being lazy. Old mining camps. Uh, Fireplaces that are from old houses and stuff. Maybe they had stuff like that, or neighborhoods get reclaimed by the forest because people all move away. So yeah, you could genuinely find stairs and foundations in unexpected places, but that doesn't prove that there's a supernatural story. It explains why the image that you see online feels believable. If you guys get a chance to look that up, if you look up the stairs in the woods, it's just this creepy stairs just that lead to nothing, like we've been talking about this whole
So,
time.
so basically, after all of this, the answer is old houses. That's it.
I mean, that explains some real staircases. I mean, it doesn't explain perfectly clean carpet 30 miles into the wilderness, though.
Because that part was made up.
All right, now, you're really determined to ruin the magic here, man.
Hey, I climbed all those stairs for nothing.
Oh, yeah, several commenters on the original post described real foundations or stair remains in the wooded areas and offered abandoned structures as the ordinary explanation. Um, the thing I like about this series is that the stairs are not scary by themselves. If you see stairs inside a house, you're not freaking out. You don't care. You don't even think about it. You just walk up and do what you got to do. Uh, you know, Put the exact same stairs in the woods though, and suddenly every part of the brain knows something's wrong. They are familiar, but they just don't belong there, and the stairs automatically suggest like they should be going somewhere. You know, they're built to take you somewhere. So when you see stairs leading to nothing, your brain still wants to know what is supposed to be at the top.
That is why I myself decline.
And that is probably why the author chose stairs instead of another object. Curiosity, as they always say, kills the cat. It becomes a trap. Um,
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I was like, curious, man.
oh yeah, even the experienced officers do not survive because they know what the stairs are. They survived because they stopped needing an answer.
Couldn't be me.
Right?
I need more.
Clearly, you're too. I guess you're too investigative. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
uh, you know, uh, like we talked about before, with all the theories, uh, there's several that I found on in the comments and stuff. There are people talking about abandoned buildings. It could be possibly a portal, kind of like what you were talking about with like the bait.
Not debate, yeah.
Yeah, like they're
Debate.
deliberately placed there as something to attract the humans for whatever supernatural reason. Um, they also talk about they could be markers. Maybe they don't do anything, that they appear wherever the boundary between the normal world and something else is. Then another one, they had failed imitation. Something in the woods has seen human structures but doesn't understand how they work. But it knows stairs exist, but not that they connect one level to another. Maybe it's the faceless people that are the same phenomenon trying to recreate humans. Maybe they're just trying to
Mhm.
trick us.
Yeah.
Uh, it's at the end of the day, they talk about a couple more things like it could be search team folklore. Try to explain stuff that's hard to explain, or to deal with the trauma that happens from being in search teams. Where at the like we had, one of our big theories was government cover up. The stairs and the
That's
creatures
what I
are
said.
known. Yeah, stairs and creatures are known phenomena, so the Service keeps officers quiet to avoid panic and lawsuits.
Oh, because it's hard for the government to maintain normal stairs.
Maybe all the infrastructure money is going to the demon stairs.
Demon stairs. I love it.
um, yeah. But here's my full conspiracy theory board. The stairs are not a creature. There are doors. They are doors or access points. The bear man, the fuzzy man, the faceless hikers, and the things copying sounds all come from the same place. Like my backrooms theory. Like I said, maybe not
Mhm.
backrooms, but something different. Maybe we'll call it the stair rooms, or maybe we'll call it the second story. I don't know. Yeah, the creature doesn't. They never completely understand humans. That is why their disguises are close but wrong. The breathing is exaggerated. The faces are missing, and the voices sound mechanical. The stairs are perfectly shaped but lead nowhere. They're all incomplete copies. So children disappear because they are easier to lure and less likely to recognize that something is pretending to be human. The reason some children return years or weeks later without understanding how much time has passed is because time does not work normally wherever the stairs lead. So, like I said, different dimension, or like the back rooms or whatever.
Counterpoint. Spooky story. That's all it could be.
That's not a theory.
But it explains every single thing.
That's true. Uh, man. But at the end of the thing, I think we finally reached this the end of this rabbit hole, or maybe as close to the bottom as we're gonna get. Still no carrots, like I said before.
Still no
But
carrots.
yeah, maybe if we climb the rabbit hole far enough down, maybe we'll find some stairs that lead to the demon Taco Bell.
Demon
Whatever.
Taco Bell
Demon
made me
Taco
damn.
Bell. Man, could you imagine getting like the taco squirts from Demon Taco Bell? Probably be
Hmm.
awful. Anyway,
Well, you're
but
already on the demon stairs. So I mean, it's already the
yeah,
worst of it all.
you
So
already
at
made a
that point,
bad
I wouldn't even
decision.
care. I wouldn't even care.
Oh yeah, you already made that bad decision. But the original series ends by leaning all the way into the cover-up angle. The narrator claims supervisors discovered that somebody had been discussing the staircases online. He says he was ordered to stop talking about them. By then, he had heard more stories about strange people in the woods, creatures copying noises, and climbers behaving in impossible ways. Um, One final account describes a figure climbing a cliff without equipment. When it reaches the top, it turns toward two people watching through binoculars. It waves, then it bends its body sideways in a way that a human body should not, and launches itself from the peak. The narrator says he had heard several nearly identical reports and no longer investigates them. He ends with the ordinary wilderness safety advice: bring supplies, tell people where you're going, stay on known trails, and if you ever find stairs standing alone in the forest, leave them alone.
You know, I'm just gonna say this. I may or may not climb them now.
I think that's a good idea, even though it took me about 2 hours to convince you.
I said may or may not. Not fully convinced, but after going through some of these, I'm not just gonna willy nilly jump on them.
Well, so after hearing everything that we've discussed tonight, what would you say your final verdict is? You know, do you believe real staircases can be found in remote forests, or you think it's all made up?
Well, I've actually have seen photos of these staircases in a forest. I'm not saying it's everywhere, but I have seen occasional photos of staircases in the forest. Now, do I believe some of the stories that you told me? Maybe, maybe not, but I do believe that those stories could be entitled to some horrific history that happened around those stairs, and those stairs could be haunted.
It's possible.
But yeah, I do believe some of those stairs can be found in some forests.
I mean, I think sometimes. I mean, I like to believe that there's something different, something fun around the things. But at the end of the day, I think it's kind of what we talked about before. It's probably somebody's just made up story for fun that everybody took and ran with, and it kind of got out of hand. Um, but yeah, like you said before, though, I mean, it could be true stuff. I think some of the stories could have been expired by real search and rescue cases, maybe ones that were unsolved. Cold cases that were like that. That maybe somebody wanted to make something up to make themselves feel better about the trauma that happened or something. You never know.
Yeah,
Or kind of like what I said before. The whenever you sit too long when something bad happens, or you're trying to tell yourself something different, you drive yourself crazy, and it could be what happened here. You know what I mean? So maybe you know. Uh, Personally, though, out of all of the entities and the crazy stuff we've heard in these stories so far, I think the creepiest one has got to be the 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 faceless climber dude or whatever though
dude, I was just about to say that the faceless
or
crime
like
versus
the one
creepiest
with
one.
the one with the throat. That's the one. I think
Yeah,
that was the
that's the
same
faceless
one. Yeah,
climber.
that
Yeah,
one
the
was
one with the throat
wild.
mouth.
I'm like, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine like be like, hey buddy, you alright? He's like, yeah man, I'm feeling good. Right out of his throat. You're like, oh,
No,
you know what I mean?
and then falling off the rock. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You think he has
The
teeth in
only one
there?
that the only one that actually had like horrific death to it was that one.
Yeah, that's true. You think he has teeth in that in his throat mouth or whatever, so he could like chew, like just. I don't
I
know.
would pretty sure it would probably have teeth just for on the horrific side.
I don't know, man. Oh man. Well, so as you heard, our official ruling is that the real abandoned staircases can absolutely exist in the woods.
And Mason is afraid of home improvements now. He will not build stairs, nor buy a house with stairs.
I mean, I am afraid of home improvement when there ain't no fucking home attached to the stairs. Like, but whether the paranormal part is real or not, this story has permanently changed the way I think about finding random stuff in the woods. Broken foundation, fine. Probably not bad. Some old concrete steps, probably an abandoned building. A perfectly clean carpeted staircase standing 30 miles into a forest. I'm leaving. I ain't touching it. And I sure am not checking underneath it or getting too close. And I'm definitely not climbing it because Dakota dared me to.
Well, it depends on how much money is involved.
Well, let us know um, what your price would be in the comments below or on our social medias if you want to DM us and stuff. All of our social medias are exactly the same as the name on the podcast, Snackin' and Yakkin, all one word.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can find us on TikTok. We're working on getting our YouTube set up. It should be by the time that you're watching this. Obviously, you'll be watching it on YouTube if you're watching it. And also, as well, we're gonna be trying to get some stuff going on Spotify and also on any other places that you could listen to the audio version of this. But yeah, if you guys are wanting to share anything with us that you want to do that maybe we'll include in the future episode, uh, we can always use other ideas, or we're always love to talk about whatever that you want to hear from us. And also, maybe we'll catch a tangent on, learn something else new, like I said. Um,
Yeah. And if you find the stairs, send us a picture.
from a distance.
No, from the top.
Don't listen to him. Thanks for yakking with us. Until next time, stay out of the woods.
And stay off the stairs.
Thank you guys for listening.